Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report, brought to you by BetDSI, and I'm your host, Mitchell Renz. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at MitchellRenz365 for the latest Raiders news and rumors. My favorite show here at the Raiders Report is Raider Nation Rumors, because I take rumors from our loyal subscribers, and if you want to subscribe, it's right below, youtube.com/the Raiders Report, and I turn them into rumors. So, the very first rumor I got coming up here on the board is from my dude, Dennis Jones. So, Dennis, shout out to you. Appreciate the rumor. With the Raiders needing linebacker help, could the Raiders contact Seahawks about acquiring Bobby Wagner? Could they ask to acquire him? Sure. I get it. It's an interesting assumption there. But in terms of actually acquiring Bobby Wagner, I'd probably give this one only one Chucky head, and I just think it's a small shred of truth of happening. I understand the Raiders need linebacker help. And yes, Bobby Wagner is going to be a free agent in the 2020 season at age 30. But here's the thing. Wagner's going to make $11.1 million in 2019, and I don't necessarily know what the Raiders would have to give up in order to get Bobby Wagner. And Bobby Wagner's been a very talented linebacker. Heck, he's been a part of that Legion of Boom, and I think you could argue when the Legion of Boom was at its best, a large part of that was due to Bobby Wagner and him being an absolute steal in the 20-whatever NFL draft. So, I like Bobby Wagner as a talent, and I understand he's a big need for the Raiders in free agency, or for the Raiders this offseason, but he's not a free agent until 2020 at age 30. Bobby Wagner is an interesting player, and again, it's a great rumor, Dennis. However, I'm giving this one only one Chucky head. So, with that being said, I got a question for you guys that I'm hoping we can bring up here on the big board, and it's around Bobby Wagner, and should the Raiders target Bobby Wagner? I want you to type Y for yes or type N for no. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you're watching this on Facebook, type Y for yes or type N for no. Should the Raiders go after Bobby Wagner? And if you want to know what I think, hit me up on Twitter at MitchellRenz365. Next one's coming in from Alex Gomez, and it's actually not even a rumor. He's just giving me a shout out. But Alex, love your show. Do you mean like, love your show, or like, I love your show? Either way, I appreciate it, and I appreciate everybody here who subscribes to youtube.com/the Raiders Report. And if you want to get your rumors on the show, again, subscribe below, youtube.com/the Raiders Report. We just crossed 7,000 subscribers, so thank you guys very much for coming along for the ride. I'm going to hopefully be able to do a show every single day the entire offseason, so tell your friends, tell the loyal Raiders watchers, more people, more shows. Subscribe below, youtube.com/the Raiders Report. My next rumor here is from my dude, Eddie. Eddie, what's going on, brother? You been working out? I see that. Could the Raiders give up a draft pick for Jacksonville and acquire Ramsey or Miles Jack? If not, give them 2 picks for both players. So, I took this and I spun it a little bit. So, Raiders trading for Jalen Ramsey. I'm going to give this one only one Chucky head, and I just think it's a small shred of truth of happening. So, there's been reports before that the Raiders would potentially target Jalen Ramsey. Heck, there's been reports that the Jags want to look to move on from Ramsey. Now, we know Blake Bortles isn't the answer for the Jags at quarterback, and it's one of the reasons why I've tried to stir up some rumors about the Raiders being interested in Dwayne Haskins, because maybe the Jags would be interested in Dwayne Haskins, and then thus look up to try to trade up to 4, and then maybe work out a deal for us. I'm giving this one only one Chucky head, though, because I just don't know how likely it is. So here's the trade that has been floated out around before. The Jags would receive the Raiders' 4th pick, okay? 4th pick this year. And then the Raiders would get their 7th pick and Jalen Ramsey. Now, I'll be honest, I'd be astonished if the Jaguars would go and do this trade, because I think they kind of get ripped off. I think Jalen Ramsey is one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL, and for only 3 picks, I understand you want to go get your quarterback, but I actually put my money down that the Jags are going to go out and get Nick Foles. Next rumor here is from my man Keaton. What's going on, Keaton? Keaton Christie. And could we draft 2 or more wide receivers in the draft? Sure. I mean, the Raiders definitely need help. And heck, I've seen mock drafts float around where the Raiders are thinking about taking a wide receiver in the 1st round. Now, we've had a mock draft here, and our very first mock draft here at Chat Sports actually involved the Raiders taking Noah Fant, a tight end out of Iowa. But luckily enough, our dude here at Chat Sports, Tom Downey, who, if you don't know it already, go follow him at What Going Downey for NFL draft coverage. here's his big board for wide receivers. It's DJ Metcalf out of Ole Miss, Harry out of ASU, Marquise Brown there for Oklahoma, Kelvin Harmon from NC State, and then J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, my mistake, out of Stanford. Those are Tom Downey's top wide receivers in the 2019 NFL Draft, so maybe the Raiders will go out and get one of those guys. Next rumor here, and it's the second week I think this guy's done this. I don't know how to pronounce your name, so I'm sorry for that. Maybe if you had a picture, that'll help. Big Chungus to the Raiders. So I'll be honest, I had to Google what the hell this was, and I guess it's one of these memes where Bugs Bunny is just a little extra thick with 2 C's, which is okay to me. But Big Chungus to the Raiders, I'm going to give that one 0 Chucky heads. Tuck rule, tuck that. But I like to have fun here on the show. What you guys need to do is go to BetDSI, go to chatsports.com/bet. Use our promo code LIVE120 for 120% deposit bonus. You put down $50, you'll get $60 for free. You put down $100, get $120 for free. Put down $500, be a Big Chungus, and get $600 for free. Shout out to BetDSI for hooking up Chat Sports with the best promo code on the internet. Next Raider Nation rumor is from my dude Uriel Durante. Hopefully I pronounced that right, my man. DeMarcus Lawrence hits free agency. The Raiders should go out and offer him a contract. In terms of DeMarcus Lawrence coming to the Raiders, though, I'm only going to give this one Chucky head, and I think it's a small shred of truth, and I even leaning on the tuck rule, tuck that side, because I just don't see the Cowboys letting DeMarcus Lawrence go. The Cowboys are going to make him a top priority this offseason, and I think that they're going to franchise tag him. When you look at what an NFL team needs, you need to be able to get after the quarterback, and DeMarcus Lawrence can do that. The 2017, 14.5 sacks, and then in 2018, 61 tackles, 10 sacks, 10 tackles for a loss, 23 quarterback hits. DeMarcus Lawrence is an absolute freak of nature, and sure, you can go back and you can look up my top 5 pass rushers that the Raiders should target in free agency. If DeMarcus Lawrence is there, yes, the Raiders, I think, should almost empty out their checkbook to get him, but unfortunately, I just don't see that happening. So, would you want DeMarcus Lawrence? Pretty easy question, right? But let's say you got to offer him what Spotrac believes is his contract, which is going to be $117 million over 6 years. So knowing that, would you want DeMarcus Lawrence at $19.6 million per year? Comment below, do you want DeMarcus Lawrence? Next rumor coming in here is from Edgar. What's going on, Edgar? Since Chucky likes veterans, Larry Fitzgerald to the Raiders. So, Edgar, first I want to say thank you for forming this into a question, because Raider Nation rumors, I would like for you guys to form it into a rumor, into a question. Makes sense? So, I'm giving this one, though, 0 Chucky heads, tuck rule, tuck that. Larry Fitzgerald's not coming to the Raiders. As much as I love Larry Fitzgerald, he's going to be 36 years old at the start of the 2019 season, and I think he's going to finish his career with the Arizona Cardinals. So either he's going to come back, or he's going to come back with the Cardinals, or he's just not going to come back at all. Fitzgerald, I understand, is set to be a free agent in 2019, but he's already said that he doesn't know if he wants to play, and I would understand because the Cardinals are a really bad team, and they were ranked dead last season in terms of points scored, but Fitz is still getting it done at a pretty high level, even at age 35. 69 catches, 734 yards. He averaged 11 yards per reception, and he had 6 touchdowns. Now, he's doing all that with a rookie quarterback, which I'm sure can be, kind of frustrating a little bit and whatnot, but at the end of the day, Larry Fitzgerald is a very talented receiver, but I don't know if he's ultimately going to be a pick for the Raiders. Next rumor coming up here is actually, again, not a rumor, but it's from Oregon Poop. Mitch would prop up tampons as a sponsor if they paid him. Laugh out loud, just kidding. Love your content. Oregon Poop, I don't know if I would do a used tampon, but maybe a tampon in general. But luckily, I know you said you don't like our Mizzen+Main reads, but to be honest, I probably don't have this if it wasn't for Mizzen+Main, for them making me look good. I had a girl spend the night the other night, and she happened to leave that there. Go to www.comfortable.af to see for yourself, because these dress shirts are indeed comfortable as F. They are the best damn dress shirts, period. Next one coming up here is from Andrew Coed, and this is an awesome Raider Nation rumor. Trey Flowers should be the Raiders' top target in free agency. It's a good question, my man. And in terms of Trey Flowers coming to the Raiders, I'm going to give this one 2 Chucky heads, and I think people are talking. I listed Trey Flowers as one of my top targets for a reason, because I think in terms of money, 5 years, $76.9 million is an interesting one, but I think it's by far the best value in terms of free agent pass rushers, because at age 25, he's able to get after the quarterback, and yes, the Raiders are in desperate need of a pass rusher. That's no secret. But the Patriots, I don't think they're going to pay him because they don't pay players. And if he hits the free agency market at that kind of value, I would jump all over it. When you look at his 2018 year, the dude's really good, right? He's an unbelievable player, able to get after the quarterback. Heck, he hit the quarterback 20 times. 8 sacks, 9 tackles for a loss, and 57 tackles. I absolutely love Trey Flowers, and it's the reason why he was my number 3rd pass rusher that the Raiders should target in 2019. But based on just pure value, I mean, you could argue Trey Flowers is probably the best value out of all these players on here. Now, if all 5 hit free agency, and we're just talking about talent, that's what this top 5 is. It's Frank Clark, D. Ford, Trey Flowers, Jadeveon Clowney, DeMarcus Lawrence. If you want to hear a little bit more on those top 5, all you got to do is go to my very last video. I released my top 5 pass rushers for the Raiders to target in 2019. All right, who should the Raiders target in free agency? They have a lot of needs on defense, and there's going to be a lot of really talented defensive players in free agency and in the NFL draft. So, who should the Raiders target in free agency? I want you to comment below, and if you want to give me your top 5, hit me up on Twitter. Just tweet at me, at MitchellRens365, and if it's the top 5 that I like, maybe I'll retweet it. Next one coming in here is from my man, Michael. Michael, you might have the cutest dog I've ever freaking seen, and shout out to you for always posting your RaiderNation rumors. I definitely appreciate it. My question is, if we had to choose to sign one, it's Trey Flowers, Lev Bell, or Earl Thomas. So we can only sign one. It's an interesting question, but before I give my answer, I want to know from everyone that's watching. So, pick one player to sign in free agency. I want you to type B for Le'Veon Bell, type T for Earl Thomas, or type F for Flowers. Who would you want the Raiders to sign in free agency? Got a lot of needs. Le'Veon Bell, probably the best running back in free agency. Earl Thomas, a great safety. Trey Flowers, defensive end. The reason why I like all these players. So pick one. B, T, F. Okay? If you want to know what I think, DM me on Twitter at MitchellRens365. Next one coming up here is from David Yost. How do you get bleach out of clothes? I'd probably go to this thing called Google. Probably just type it in there, figure it out. Or you can look at all the replies from your good friends here at the Oakland Raiders Report. How do you get bleach out of your clothes? You guys have any idea? Maybe I could hit up my mom. Maybe I could text her. Maybe she would know. How do you get bleach out of clothes? I want you to comment below. Best answer gets a retweet from me on Twitter at MitchellRens365. Next one coming in is from Daniel Rocha. Raiders playing Chargers Old Stadium next year. But yeah, I'm super down to be on the show. Well, you're welcome, my man. And luckily for you, BetDSI was nice enough to hook us up with the 2019 odds for where the Raiders are going to play next season. Oakland sitting there at plus 120. San Diego, plus 250. Maybe you should put your money down, plus 250. Santa Clara, plus 400. Phoenix, plus 500. Seattle, plus 1,000. San Antonio, 1,000. Portland, 1,500. Memphis, 2,000. Wouldn't bet on any of those, I'll be honest with you. Toronto heading up to the 6 with Drake, plus 3,000. London, the field, plus 500. I've already put my money down on Oakland. My fingers crossed that the Raiders are going to play in Oakland in 2019. But there are reports that they could play in San Diego in 2019. I know I talked about this before on an old Raiders rumors. Here's the thing, though. That they would play in the old Charger Stadium before the Chargers moved to LA. I think the interesting thing is, though, the Raiders are 30-20-1 all time. All time in San Diego. So, hey, it's a pretty good win percentage to me. And I got a question for you. Where will the Raiders play in 2019? I want to know from you. I think they're going to play in Oakland, but I've heard San Diego, I've heard London, I've heard Arizona. Where are the Raiders going to play in 2019? I want you to comment below. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you're watching on Facebook, hey, weigh in below, comment. Next one in is from Andrew. Latavius Murray will return to the Raiders in 2019. And I like Latavius Murray, and he's a good player. He's a good running back, and he's going to be a free agent. But if in terms of him returning to the Raiders, as I see it right now, I'm only going to give it one Chucky head, and I think it's a small shred of truth. And because I just don't know if he's as talented as some of the other options out there for the Raiders, and based on money, I would much rather spend the money on a running back like Tevin Coleman instead of a running back like Latavius Murray based on age. But at age 28, he's going to be a free agent, and sure, the Raiders have a lot of question marks. Marshawn Lynch, I don't know if he's coming back. Potentially, if the Raiders end up staying in Oakland, he could stay there. But Murray was the running back for the Raiders in 2014 and 2016. And he's actually been pretty decent the last few years. And in 2018, you might say it's not very, I don't know, stats aren't very good, but 140 carries, 578 yards, 4.1 yards per carry, and 6 touchdowns. So Latavius Murray's been okay. And then you look at his entire career, 899 carries, 3,698 yards, 34 touchdowns. Interesting stat before entering this season, Latavius Murray and Melvin Gordon were the only running backs in the NFL to have 8+ rushing touchdowns in 2017 and 2016. Pretty interesting, right? So, should the Raiders bring back Latavius Murray? I want you to type 1 for yes or type 2 for no. If you want to know what I think, slide into those DMs at MitchellRenz365. Should the Raiders bring back Latavius Murray next season? My next one in here is from Christian. What's going on, Christian? Is there a 3-down running back the Raiders could draft? The best running backs the Raiders could target in the draft. Would really love to be on your show. Big fan from Germany. Well, before I get into that, I don't know if you know this. I used to live in Germany. I used to live in Cologne. So what's going on there? And I lived there for a whole year. And if you ever want to get a beer, you let me know. So I have already released my top 5 running back targets in 2019 for the Raiders. So here's some running back targets that I think the Raiders could look into. I got J.J. Tevin Coleman, Leonard Fournette, not going to be a free agent at age 23, but he's got a lot of shit going on right now with the Jags, and I think they could maybe try to trade him for cheap. And if they're going to trade him for cheap, Leonard Fournette would be an interesting running back there. Mark Ingram, I also talked about in my rumors section, so go back 2 videos ago. Check that one out. Le'Veon Bell, my number 1 running back, just terms based on talent. I don't know if I really want them to pay $16 to $17 million for a running back because I think you can get a lot cheaper. Personally, I'd rather pay the $5 million to Tevin Coleman. But who are your top 5 running back targets for the Raiders next season? The last one here, I believe, is from Dead Raider, my dude, and I'm going to give a shout out to Dead Raider because he's probably been here since day one. I have a few OGs on this channel, and now I got over 7,000 subscribers, so thanks to all of you. But will Mitchell reveal the beer he drinks? Yes, I will, and I drink beer from Tavour, and if you guys like craft beer, go to Tavour.com and sign up as for free, and use our promo code ChatSports for $10 off your very first purchase. You can create your own craft beer box, okay? And then they're going to send it right to your door. So if you like being lazy, you like drinking craft beer, it's easy. Go to Tavour.com and use our promo code ChatSports for $10 off, and we'll hook you up with some craft beer. Raider Nation, what's going on? Is this the #1 Raiders channel on YouTube? For Chucky Heads, believe it, baby. And if you haven't already, subscribe right here. I'm giving you Chucky Heads, news, rumors, Raider Nation rumors. And look at this, I'm making your life easier. Check out my next video. Thanks for watching, and go Raiders.